Everybody, and welcome to the cover reveal for Barnaby's Luck here on the Cursed Dragon Ship Publishing. It is I, your host, SG George. I am the acquisitions editor here at Cursed Dragon Ship Publishing, as well as a freelance editor with Ladybird Editing. And we have with us the author, Onia, who is a well-established author across multiple genres, including fantasy and science fiction. How are you doing today, Al?
I'm well, thank you, Sarah. You should also mention that you're a really, really good editor.
Well, it doesn't sound the same when I say it, but if somebody else mentions it, then that's fine.
A great collaborator. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and let us get this cover reveal going of our fantasy book today. Ta-da! We have got Barnaby's Luck. This is a fantasy adventure novel. I should go ahead and read the back cover copy for you. Barnaby is an optimist. He lives by the philosophy that the glass, or purse, is half full and always in need of topping up. The thief unwillingly finds himself a partner in Shugg the Thug, a man as bright as oil without any lamp, to steal the family jewels from an orgy. Just one more heist, and then Barnaby's leaving Corenthal for warmer weather and prettier women. Until the long arm of the law pits the pair against the all-powerful necromancer, killing everyone foolish enough to stand in his warpath, only adding more undead to his army in the process. Out of time and options, Barnaby's cunning and Shugg's strength cast them as pieces in a game neither were prepared to play. Not that Barnaby had any love for magic before, but is freedom really worth his life and maybe even his undeath? Haunted by old friends, surrounded by new enemies, and toting around an old man proclaiming to be an unwizard, Barnaby's quick fingers and quicker wit hardly seem sufficient against the unrelenting elements of magic. That voice in his head urges him towards saving the world, even as wealth tempts him to let it burn. But who's to say heroism and hedonism can't be mutually, or have to be mutually exclusive? Barnaby's Luck is the anti-heroic fantasy story of imaginative men and women enduring barbarous times. That is what we got. What do you think of the cover, Al?
I like it's got a very Arabian Nights feel to it.
Yeah.
And I really like that. And although I can't actually see it here, but I did see the previous version, the various symbols at the four corners. Yeah, and it pulls a scene out of a few different places in the book that are critical to the story and building of Barnaby and Shugg's arc. So yes, and I think it'll work great from what I can see for the sequels as well.
Good.
As a starting point, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the compass rose in the background. I didn't ask them for that, but when I sent in the information to the cover designer, I said, we want Travel My Map Muppets vibes. And they gave us that. And I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, no, because it's, when you're doing fantasy, you're creating a new world, a different world.
Yeah.
But you still have to orient yourself, well, which way am I going? And, the compass points, well, they're going in the book, they're going all points in the compass, as well as engaging in the classic four elements of matter in fire, water, air, and earth, which they encounter malevolently at various stages in the book.
Very nice. Who are the characters on the cover? What can you tell us about them?
The large fellow is Shugg the Thug. The small person is our hero, Barnaby the Quick, and I believe the woman on the saddle on the camel is a rescued would-be slave, Elbeth, who is she has the privilege of learning under the unwizard secrets of natural philosophy. So they're budding scientists is what they are.
Very nice. Let's see. We have ooh, gorgeous, very pretty. Johnny says it reminds me of a modern day Dune. I can see that. Pine Lord asks, what kind of potion is he brewing where he has to steal testicles at an orgy? Is this a fantasy version of Ball's energy drink? Oh, I have to read to find out. And Northern Light says, Shugg the Thug is awesome. Shugg the Thug is awesome. I agree. He was my favorite character. He sells the book so hard. I love him with all of my heart. And I love Shugg, but I also love how Barnaby reacts to Shugg because Barnaby is very much quippy. And so he's always talking at Shugg and telling him what he thinks of Shugg, and Shugg is just happy to be there, and it's fantastic.
Yes, Barnaby is very self-absorbed, but Shugg and Elbeth grow the most over the course of the book, and Barnaby is slow to recognize both of those just because of who he is.
What are the elements on the cover here? Earth, fire, water thing he already talked about. Well, there's one more. There's the four traditional ones, and then there's one that looks almost like a hooded figure. And I didn't know if we had insights to reveal about that one. The shadow hoodie. The shadow hoodie.
Ah, well, I can guess that it is the true wizard in the book, Ankar, who is using a recent claimant to the throne of a neighboring kingdom. There, we're going to get something. Yes. To exert his will upon not just that kingdom, but then, dreams of empire, and an evil empire at that, or one based in black magic. So the main antagonist, who is certainly evil, but he also fears, he's prescient to some extent, and he fears where this natural understanding of elements and weather and the planet and everything can lead down a darker path than even necromancy. So he has a goal in mind.
Yeah. So we've got a map on the cover here. And our characters travel all over this world. What are some of the places that they go, some of the locations that they visit?
Right. They go, they live, Barnaby and Shugg live on this coastal city-state, really, called Corenthal. To the west is ocean, to the east is desert, grasslands, foothills, and then a mountain chain. On the other side of the mountain chain is the kingdom of Hannipin, where they visit a couple of times, once out of commerce and once out of military orders and military must-dos. They sail north of Corenthal to essentially this planet's Arctic Circle. And then they also sail south to the desert desert coastal countries. And yeah, by ship, by camel, by horse, by foot, uh, they cover a fair amount of their known world um, over the course of about a year.
Very nice. Well, you have picked out a blurb to read. Are you ready to do that?
Sure.
We've got Susan Forrest says, great cover.
Thank you, Susan. She's a fellow Canadian writer from Calgary.
And Sandra Ona, I'm sure completely not related, also enjoys the cover.
Yes.
And Albie the Floof has joined the chat and asked, what is the camel's name?
The camel has no name.
No name?
I've been through the desert on a camel with no name. Thank you, Sarah. I mentioned one of the journeys was to the north of Corenthal to the Arctic Circle. To set the scene, our hero, Barnaby the Quick, has brokered an ocean-based trade mission from his home coastal city to a remote northern village. The ship, the Dolphin, under Captain Andros's command, has delivered food and supplies in exchange for gold. The Dolphin prepares now to outrun winter back home to Corenthal. Barnaby is on the Dolphin's deck and Shugg is below as they sail from the narrow cove. Within a quarter hour, the Dolphin was underway. Barnaby was grateful the fog had lifted from the entrance to the cove and well beyond. He smelled fish oil and little else, no doubt a remnant from the previous night's celebration. The Dolphin tacked toward the outer harbor, sails pulling full. Thump. Barnaby stumbled to his knees, like the day before, only harder this time. Andros shouted to the depth sounder, "Give us a warning, Olegson!" Before the first mate could answer, there was another thump, heeling the Dolphin over. Barnaby grabbed the rail to keep from sliding into the sea. Shugg scrambled on deck, yelling, "Something's scraping the hull! Something alive! It's big and means it's no good, Master Barnaby." An overwhelming stench assaulted them. Barnaby's eyes teared. A gray and pink snake-like arm burst from the water to grab the railing. He let go just as the tendril tore the wood loose and disappeared back into the ocean. "I warned you," Shugg blubbered. Barnaby bumped into him as he sprang to the center of the deck. Andros shouted, "Kraken! Grab swords, axes, anything sharp. Cut the demon. We're in for a fight, lads." The captain tossed his hat aside and unsheathed his sword. He stepped across the deck, looking around and cocking his head. Barnaby ran below to retrieve his blade. Sailors stood back from the railings, axes, spears, and swords held before them, awaiting the next foray from the beast. A mottled tentacle shot from the water to grab the main mast. The two sailors rushed in with cutlasses. Their attack prompted the appearance of a second arm from the sea. The pair were dragged screaming from the deck and overboard. Andros yelled, "Deck center, back to back. Give her hell, lads." A flurry of slippery limbs covered Dolphin's deck. Barnaby swung the sword with all his might. The blade slid off the tentacles wherever he struck. Sailors with axes fared better, and foul-smelling blood bathed the planks under their feet. Andros ran amongst them as if possessed, hauling a man from danger here, stabbing with his own sword there, slipping in gore and frost, all the time barking orders. Barnaby saw Shugg through a haze of sweat and blood, swinging a club against the Kraken's resilient. Fearsome sketches of the creature's maw came to Barnaby from childhood books and spurred him to greater exertions. Finally, the assault ceased. The Dolphin had swung around in the battle and now headed back inside Resolute Cove. Barnaby ran to the stern. Two malevolent eyes stared from a mass of gray and pink flesh. The pointed body shot through the water. A tentacle knocked him over. Barnaby shouted a warning, "Shugg!" His partner turned in time to see the oily limb. Before the big man could duck, the tentacle changed course and targeted the captain beside him. Andros screamed as the paw covered his face and pulled him headfirst over the side. The water calmed, and the sailor stood motionless, waiting for the next attack. It didn't come. Barnaby muttered, "I guess Andros won't be going down with his ship." And then their situation deteriorates. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. That was a fantastic reading.
Oh, good.
And if you in the chat were just as taken as Andros was by the Kraken, you can pre-order your copy now on Amazon. I'm sure somebody will post that link for me here in a minute. If you would like to receive your copy early, you cannot wait for January 28th for the reveal. You need it right now. Send Al an email.
Yes.
What is your email?
J as in John, ON as in normal, IA at gmail.com.
Send him an email, request an ARC copy, and we will get you that information. We appreciate anybody who is willing to read it early, and by no means are you required to leave a review, but it is very helpful. You can also join us in the Discord to chat with Al and talk about the book. You can find more about him at ajona.com. Let's see.
And I also have an author page on amazon.com.
And he's got an author page on amazon.com. Do we have any last words, Al?
Well, thanks to all the invisible audience who tuned in tonight, and thanks to Kelly and Sarah for sharing my vision of this book and getting it to where it is now, which is a much better book than the first draft that they saw many months, a year and a half ago, I guess. So, yeah, good for me.
And otherwise, I think that is it for the day. If you would like to see more of me, ladybird at gmail.com. You can also follow me on my Twitch chat, Birdie25, where we do, I've got my own little show. We do live editing Tuesdays, not this Tuesday, next Tuesday. And we do art on Wednesdays. Otherwise, I think that is it for the day. One more round of applause for Al and for Barnaby's Luck coming out January 28th. And you can get your pre-orders in now.
Thank you.